everyone. And we are fully back, and we are back thanks to the wonderful Hans and Julia. And Hans, you're back from a shotgun wedding style-esque of a trip through Mexico. And how was it, sir?
Super amazing. Pretty much went down Wednesday, had Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as our game days, and then came back Sunday. And we did 13-hour days. We were supposed to do our last day as an opening day to just check out Playa del Carmen, where we were staying. But that ended up being the first day. So everything got shifted around. So we ended up going to Tulum, Coba, Nakmal, Mayan Village with an amazing cenote that was like crystal clear water. Beautiful place. There's over 8,000 cenotes in that area of Mexico, which is interesting. They think that this happened when the comet hit and took out the dinosaurs. It created all these spots or cenotes under the ground. But there are so many of them, it's unbelievable. And they're all so beautiful. And then Saturday, we ended up going to Chichen Itza and Valadito, the city that's there near Chichen Itza, as well as another cenote. So, yeah, wow. Super amazing. Everybody is going to see cenotes in Mexico, but also these ancient sites. So, yes.
8,000, like, right? So it's like 3 days, and yet there's 8,000 cenotes. So
you can't do it all in one day.
Years, literal years to explore them all. And I myself, oh gosh, 2 decades ago now since I was down there, but I pretty much did the exact little 3-day Chichen Itza cenote Playa del Carmen tour that you just described myself, and just brought back so many memories of it and how awesome it is. Definitely need to go there and spend more time.
Back then, I'm sure there were less tourists. At Tulum, wow, we had over 2,000 tourists there the day that we were there. And same with Chichen Itza. It was insane. I've never seen that many people on the grounds of any site I've ever gone to around the world. And so that was kind of crazy. 2,000 plus people. Yeah.
That is a lot. When were you there? Was it right around the equinox?
No. So we were at Chichen Itza on Saturday and Tulum on Friday. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like anytime anyone says Chichen Itza, it sounds joyful. Like, have you ever? Can anybody say Chichen Itza and not sound like happy or like positive? Like, I love that word.
Have you ever been, Julia? No. Yes. No.
No, I want to go to Teotihuacan.
Me three.
I will.
Seriously.
I will.
Us four, right?
Us four. All right.
There's 3 of us here, and I say us 4 because we're there and more. And who wants to be the 4th? We have to get it done. Like Teotihuacan, Mexico City, and it's the city of the gods, is it not?
Wow, I've never been to Mexico City, but I hear there's a lot going on there. Puebla is one of the nearest cities to it, and it has one of the largest pyramids, and there's a church on top of it. Go figure.
I believe the vast majority, and lots of them, they're finding it's like there's the cathedral, and then there's like 2 or 3 stages of pyramids built over top. So it's like just fascinating and wondrous of what's really underneath them, because you have pyramids within pyramids within pyramids of structures and underground buildings.
Well, even at Coba and Nakmal, there's a thought that there are 3 layers underneath it that go up to the top structure, but they're buried underneath the structure itself. And so, wow, well,
Mike does say he said Mexico City was built on an ancient lake.
Yes, it was. Correct.
Are you gonna share some photos? We're gonna look at your
Yeah, I was
dream?
just pulling up Chichen Itza quickly for those that have.
This is the one where you clap your hands and then it like makes a bird
Oh
noise.
my god,
and
it makes a
taps-
bird sound. It's like crazy. It's like it's different than the clap that you make. It echoes back as a bird sound, and I've never heard that in an echo site before.
Right? It's like once you hear it, it sticks with you. It's wild how it just pings back. It's so fascinating. But that is at this this place, Chichen Itza. Oh no. Yeah. Sorry. Here we go. There's a photo. Hans, did you have photos of your trip that you
A
wanted?
few, a lot of them didn't load, so we'll see what I can do with this. Share screen.
So there's theories about what they did here. Sacrifice.
Right.
Big soccer game. It would sacrifice the winners. Or what?
Correct. So it's interesting when you go to Chichen Itza, the ball court is like super high and like very, I can't even describe it. It was
Big
so
walls,
amazing.
right?
But when you go to like Chukmol or Nakmol and Koba, it's angular and it's very short. And so the question is, why was the ball game different at this site versus Chichen Itza, where it's huge?
Very good point.
Let me see if I can present this. Slideshow screen.
El Castillo.
Just wild how all of them overgrown when originally found.
Oh, by the way, everyone, my light is off tonight in honor of the eclipse. Might be the only stream ever. It's totally eclipsed out.
Good to know.
What happens if you stream on the eclipse?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to maybe total black. Maybe my screen will just be like this, you know?
Complete dark. Streaming in dark mode.
I'm not sure I'm able to share this. Weird. All right.
Oh, there might be a tab at the top of when in the present, then the share screen into a different window. Once you have the picture loaded.
Window. Oh, hold on. That's why. Okay. All right.
Oh,
Bingo.
we've got Hans. Oh, we've got Hans taking pictures.
So this is Tim Hogan. We're at Tulum. I'm assuming you're seeing this.
Yes, sir.
And so we were all talking about Tulum. There were like 2,000 tourists there. But we were talking about a lot of the ancient mysteries with the Knights Templar who showed up there in the 1200 AD era. And it's interesting that we keep having these light beams that come down from the sky.
The most plasmide like beings are found around that area in Mexico.
Oh, they show up in all my photos. It's like, where are these beams coming from?
I'm seeing that, right? That's wild.
Yeah, they're in all my photos. Like, hello.
What?
Here we are looking out over the coast of toward Cuba. Tulum was amazing. This was an amazing site. Sadly, there were like 2,000 tourists there, so we didn't get a lot of time. We had like 25 minutes that we could actually walk around and got a lot done, but not all that I wanted to get done. But it is what it is.
Right. So we're gonna have to reorganize like a 2 week or month-long trip where we get like a caravan of like a couple camper vans, and then we like actually camp out at these sites like for a couple of nights. So then at night we can break into the underground.
Can you camp? What's the closest you could camp there? That's a good idea. Can you even camp there?
Good question. No idea. Yeah.
Part of it will be raising funds to bribe local security guards for private tours, right?
The big, yeah, of course. So this is at Koba Nakmul. This is the second highest pyramid in the Mayan sector. There's one that's bigger than this, but this one is huge. And there's structures underneath this. And so you used to be able to go up underneath it to the top and also up the stairs to the top. But they don't allow you to do this anymore. So, shit. Sad. So this is at Chichen Itza. Tim Hogan took us to the backside of where the tourist guides don't take a lot of people because they don't know how to explain a lot of what's going on with what you see here. So on the left and the right of this structure, you see elephant tusks or elephant beaks, basically. And they claim these are a rare bird that is in the region, but no, these are elephants, and they're all over the place. This is all over these structures. No, these are all out of order. But yeah, this is Chichen Itza.
So beautiful.
Looking up the Serpent Mound. So during the solstices, you will see the snake rise upon this area and descend upon this area. But this is also where you find the area where if you snap your fingers or you clap your hands or you do your vocal scenario, you will have a bird echo that comes back at you. Sorry. I think this is the last of my photos. Sorry.
Let's look at the light beam. Like the light beams in every single one.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I have many more that have this going on. So what's going on with my hello? That's frozen up. So anyhow, that was my adventure.
How was your conversations with the good Tim Hogan?
So we did both of us did a lecture at the beginning of the tour. It was supposed to be at the end of the tour, and he opened up with the Knights Templar aspect of what's going on in this area of the region. And then I complimented him with a lot of what I knew about Egypt and Egypt's aspect dealing with South America as well. So, yeah, it was awesome that we segued with both of our lectures.
What connections do you see between Egypt and those sites in Mexico?
Wow, that's another thing I need to bring up. Maybe I can. So, Maui was a Greco-Egyptian in 232 BC, and he traveled from Egypt through the Red Sea down into the Indian Ocean around Australia. He went across through New Zealand, and that's where a lot of his travels were recorded. And then he traveled through the ocean currents all the way to Santiago de Chile, up around the port coast of of Peru. And then eventually, once you're at the top of Peru and Ecuador, the trade currents take you directly across to uh, the islands. And so, yeah.
Right? The Canary Islands or the
sorry.
I guess the first it goes to Easter Island.
Yes, thank you. Easter Island, yeah. And so from Easter Island, then they go up to Hawaii. Hawaii, they go up to possibly Alaska, come back around. They go back through Tonga, and then over to Jakarta, Indonesia, that whole area, and then back to Egypt. And so this is all based on the trade currents and the trade winds. And yeah, this is Maui. Maui is now known through the Polynesian culture as Maui. And so, whoa.
It's the main island of Hawaii as well, right?
Well, he's also considered a god. And so he showed up with his boats and he helped unify all of the Polynesian islands to Maui or to Hawaii, which was, Hawaii before Hawaii, and even up to Alaska, because if you get off the trade currents of Hawaii and you push north, you're going to end up in California, and then you're going to travel all the way up north to Alaska. And so it's so amazing that all this was part of Maui, and his captain was Captain Rata. And so you have Admiral Maui and Captain Rata, and all of a sudden, here it is, Maui, right? And so the Hawaiian culture, the Polynesian culture, they all revere this person as a god. He wasn't a god, he was a real person.
Right, unifier and founder of the culture, right? Bringing the Egyptian and they established trades and civilization essentially many times over.
Correct. So we have to revere that. And then we look at what you see in Egypt crossing over to Peru. And so you go into Peru and you go into the Arca Lima Gold Museum in Lima, Peru. And in the basement, you have these 3 artifacts that are out of place, very much so. The 3 headdresses of a moon. This is straight out of Egypt, and so how do you not see this? It's amazing. Anyway,
right? Just so many parallels over every single culture and overlapping every single culture, and it just makes more and more sense as the evidence comes together and as we learn of all the histories, the true history.
very much.
At the very beginning, you were mentioning Tim Hogan and the Knights Templar making trips there in the 1200 AD. Can you go more into that?
So the Templars came over across the oceans in 1200 AD. Obviously, you see this everywhere that you go into the ancient sites in South America. You have the Knights Templar cross. They had a handshake that they would do with people, and once the Spaniards and the other cultures came over, they didn't know the handshake. So when the natives were trying to give the handshake, the Spaniards were like, "Oh, we're going to put gold and stuff in your hands," but that doesn't work. So they didn't know the handshakes.
Interesting. Very interesting. That just connects so much to a lot of Terry Carter's work. Just
Yes.
clicked in my head, and makes so much sense of the Spanish conquistador relationship or dislike relationship.
Well, then we had Cristobal de Colon, right? So this is Christopher Columbus who came over, and that's not his name, but he was very associated with the goddesses of Ishtar, Isis, and Columbus. And so Julia just did an amazing show on Esther and Ishtar, and this kind of correlates with this goddess of Columbia that, crossed the oceans with us. And so we go into, New York City, and you have this, how do we call it? The island of Ascension, basically. So you come into New York Harbor, and there's the Liberty Island, which is where the goddess of Columbia stands, and then you have, where everybody comes into Ellis Island, and they're initiated into becoming a citizen.
Landing through.
Correct. Yeah. So when you pull into a port, you're pulling into a port through the waters, and as a captain, you're berthing at the port. So there's this interesting berthing aspect. And once you pull into the port, the captain has to create a certificate of manifest, right? So the certificate of manifest is the birth certificate of the boat. It's all the elements that are on board, all the people that are on board. And eventually, everybody on board will advent to the captain and go, hey, can we have liberty to go ashore? And you have to stop and go, wait, why don't you have freedom to go ashore? Well, liberty is this aspect of freedom that we all think that we have. No, it isn't. We are granted an extended shore leave, and that's what liberty is. So, the captain expresses liberty. We're berthed at the shore. The captain creates the manifest of the ship, the birth certificate. And we go back to the Statue of Liberty and we look at it, and it's like, oh my God. We always see it from below, but we never see it from above. Interestingly, from above, it's shackled on the left foot, still to the platform it's standing on. So is this freedom? No, it's liberty.
Right? So much metaphor, but actual law and like misunderstanding of the three powerhouses of Rome, London, and New York, and the landing of it.
And Venice, the financial hub of all of it. Yeah.
And law of the sea, right?
Myrrh. Myrrh. So even in the triptych, we have the gold, the myrrh, and the frankincense. And myrrh is considered a aspect of it's another incense, but I don't think that's what they're talking about. I think the myrrh they're talking about is the holy water. Yeah.
See, I've always wondered about that and thought and just like been perplexed of like, how is this like myrrh like it's got to be something else to like be so important into it, and like
frankincense, gold, and myrrh. What's myrrh? Well, myrrh and frankincense are the same incense almost. That doesn't make sense. So yeah,
frankincense doesn't make sense.
It's the myrrh. It's the holy water, right? Yeah. Anyway,
it's brilliant.
Myrrh is a pain. It's like it's like an ancient pain reliever, painkiller.
As
your pain receptors in your head
Correct. Yeah.
And it's also anti-parasitic. I'll take it. I'll take like 5 drops of it every night, like a tincture. And it
Really?
makes you sleep. You guys, you want like amazing sleep? Get myrrh drops, myrrh tincture. You don't even need the full vial. You will sleep like a baby. Like it's
Interesting.
such
I do a lot
quality
of
sleep.
ashwagandha does that for me as well. So
Well, I don't know because ashwagandha can like balance your endocrine system so much
right.
that it can kind of. I call it herbal Xanax, ashwagandha. I call it oh my gosh, waganda
Oh my
because it's like
gosh.
any worry. It's like Xanax and weed had a baby, and it's like the herbal version of that. Like and it soothes you. Like if you're anxious or panicking or you just went through something traumatic or a breakup, like ashwagandha, or you lost your house and you're broke and you're feeling overwhelmed, and especially if you don't want to like use drugs or alcohol, it's great to use being sober, and that soothes you and alleviates your worries. Like, and holy basil does that as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, it really soothes you, but it your helps balance your
How's that
endocrine.
spelled?
What?
How is that?
Ashwagandha. ASHWAGHANDA.
Amazing stuff, bro. Seriously.
Or DA?
Every night. So amazing. Yes.
But I'm telling you, the myrrh, you guys, it's like the qualities that you hibernate and you wake up feeling so well rested. And I'm somebody like I'm a night owl, like I come alive at night, especially when like people go to sleep. I'm like, oh, okay, all their thoughts and energies are now neutralized, and I can really, create and expand my mind. So
I
I'm
have
a night
no
owl and not.
idea what you're talking about.
uh, Burning the midnight oil. That should be your other nickname, BurnEye. Burning the
Oh,
midnight oil.
how has it taken this long to get there? 1221 a.m. as you came up with that amazing 37th name of mine now. But burn at midnight, right? Because there's the side burnies. That was the first.
Oh,
That
that's a good
happened.
one. Side
That was grade 10
burnies.
when they came out.
It's a
And then
great gamer tag for you. It's a great game.
there was like Burn Cron Bernie, and then after Burning Cron Bernie, you get Burnt Out Bernie, and then you got BurnEye, and then you got the Alchemist, and then you got Bernard. Just
Learning and burning.
learning and burning.
Learning.
Yeah,
Classic.
But
so I
yes,
mean, I feel like people right now are, probably going to feel a little out of whack, a little panicky, a little, oh my God, this guy is falling, or just panicking about everything. Like, where's my money? Like, everything's more expensive, financially worrying, world wars and earthquakes. And
right? They're
so,
really
yeah, holy
pushing it.
basil and myrrh, like that could help. They could help in these times. Oh my gosh, Waganda.
But with
Ashwagandha
the
is key.
structured water, the holy water, I love that aspect. And that is alchemy mixing the myrrh or the plants in the tincture, which is structured water. And that's always been what they call naturopathic medicines, but it's structured water.
Somebody asked how you spell it. I think it's Myrrh.
Myrrh. Yes.
Or no, 2 H's. Myrhh.
Why have I not tried myrrh before?
I just came back with the most amazing kapal from the Mayan elders. Oh my God. I bought a bag that was
Kapal?
kapal.
What is that? What is Kapal?
Are you serious? So
Yeah.
it's
You don't got to
similar
knowledge shame
to.
me, Hans.
I'm sorry. What? You don't know what kapal is?
What?
So kapal is similar to what can I think of it? A whole
This
lot
is
of
what you
sex.
get for kind of being condescending, huh?
Yeah.
Like what? You don't know what that means? Okay, boom, you forget what it means.
It's similar to frankincense. So it basically has like a similar property to frankincense. It's the resin of a tree that grows in South America. So copal is amazing. They put it in incense. They put it in everything. But I bought like the real raw core copal that's like the resin straight from, what's this? Anyway, yeah. So the straight resin from the elders. I got this in the Mayan village. I bought a bag of amazing copal. Usually you buy it in incense. It comes in incense, but I would rather have the pure form, similar to frankincense, where you just have this resin that comes from the original trees, and it's very similar to frankincense. Doesn't smell like frankincense. It's more of a
What are the effects of it? Like, what is it used to treat?
oh, they use this in the Mayan like elder extraction of when they do sessions on people. They'll burn like copal like nobody's business. But it's very similar to frankincense, and so they don't have frankincense growing in South America. So the copal is very, very, very similar in smell. It has this. How do I even describe it? It's like
Ooh, try.
I'm trying. So if you've smelled frankincense, it has this very perfumey aspect to it. So copal is very similar to that, but it's different. It's a different plant. It's a different tree, and so, but it has a very similar aspect to frankincense. That's all I can say. If you've ever smelled frankincense or done any aspects or anything that you're doing with frankincense, you're going to have a similar aspect with copal. Sorry. Yep.
Sorry, I was just refilling a couple of the purple gold Ormus bottles there. And speaking of Ormus and the upcoming eclipse, we were talking before we went live about how there was a lunar eclipse 2 weeks or coming up on 2 weeks ago during the last full moon, and that the upcoming solar eclipse is going to be on a full new moon when the blocks out the sun. It's the dark side of the moon we are looking at. Oh. All right.
Yeah, that's super interesting. That's why I want to bring up Saros, like a Saros cycle. Every eclipse is part of this repeating pattern called the Saros cycle. And this one on April 8th is known as Saros 139. And it started back in 1501 and it's going to continue until 2763, totaling 71 related eclipses. And so these eclipses may not occur in the same spot on the Earth, but they follow like this similar path across the globe. And it like the Saros cycles helps all the astronomers organize the eclipses into families, and each lasts like 12 to 13 centuries and contains 70 or more eclipses. And within this cycle, the solar eclipses recur like every 18 years, like 18.3, or like there's 223 lunations. So the eclipses tend to happen 18 years plus around like 10 or 12 days, depending on leap years and stuff.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
18 years. That's
so the eclipse preceding this one, that event occurred March 29th, 2006. So like 18 years and 10 days before. And the next eclipse in Saros 139, which is what we're in, will happen around like 18 years and 11 days after April 4th of this year. So that would be April 20th, 2042. So it's just interesting. and like how it begins either near the North Pole or South Pole due to the tilt in the moon's orbital plane compared to the Earth's orbit around the sun. The Saros 139, which is, this April 8th one, started near the North Pole.
Did you have a diagram of that to pull up?
Oh, wait, hold up.
I've just the lunar cycles, the solar cycles, they've always fascinated me, and trying to make sense of it, because the ancients put so much importance into it, tracking it and incorporating it into their different societies and traditions, I guess. But
Okay, there's my screen.
Gotcha.
So.
Oh wow! All right. Wow.
All right.
So
this clay cuneiform tablet records lunar eclipses between 609 and 447 BC. So the Babylonians were big on solar eclipses as well.
Right, since the beginning of time, pretty much documented civilization.
Now, this is showing future ones. But down here, see the pathways?
Yes, ma'am.
So those are the path of the 9 solar eclipses from 1901 to 2045. And they're all members of the Saros 136. So the interval between each eclipse is 18 years, 11 days, 8 hours. The 8 hours in the Saros cycle shift the path of each succeeding eclipse by about 120 degrees in longitude. The shift in latitude of each eclipse is due to the change in the moon's distance from the orbital node. So what's interesting is this part, which, I felt like a member of the royal family, but I was kind of they were going to announce the death of a royal member of the family. And
oh my goodness. Is this a prediction for 2 days from now?
Well, no, because I was attributing that and really felt more it had to do with the comet. And that comet is going to be kind of photobombing. Might be able to see it in the sky when the eclipse happens, but if you're able to see it, because I feel like it's going to be overcast for sure. I don't know, I just feel strongly about that. But
that's a good point, though, that's also it making more relevance, but in the actual power of astrology, especially that this eclipse and cycle is happening simultaneously to this what's dubbed the Green Devil, I believe, comet. Is that correct? Or
they called it the Green Comet because it had horns for a little bit, and then it's gone. But that's going to be getting the closest it's going to be getting is June 2nd. So I feel like the death of the royal family member would be closer to that June 2nd than the April 8th eclipse. But so the Babylonian prediction of eclipses was much more than an academic pursuit. It was a common Mesopotamian belief that the gods used eclipses as omens to foretell future events. Lunar eclipses in particular were thought to portend the imminent death of a king. But the consequences of such celestial signs were avoidable, especially if the eclipse was predicted in advance. The king would abdicate his throne briefly while one of his subjects was substituted in his place. After the danger of the eclipse has passed, the unfortunate substitute was killed, and the king could then safely resume his royal position.
How did I know that was not going to end well for the poor subject that becomes king for a day? They not letting you stay alive after that, because, well, the subjects are like, what? There's someone else? We have a choice? No, you get sacrificed every time.
Well, this is interesting.
It's interesting with this whole Kate thing. They might just announce Kate had, cancer treatment. She didn't make it. Where they're sacrificing her so to hold the throne king position, but he's really sick anyways.
So I wasn't the only one that had that thought. I'm glad you stated that, and I wasn't just thinking that. That's very interesting.
So NASA is trying to launch 3 sounding rockets into the moon's shadow during the solar eclipse.
Okay, I'm not really like big on doom, but you know how we did that? I don't like fear mongering or stuff like that, but I can't help but ponder the thought that all these people are going to be gathering. You know how we were talking about what they were like the operations that the government had. What was it? Elkman presented about what they were spraying, and then what zones where they knew it was going to blow, like how the winds hit and the way they were almost putting it in spots, spraying those chemicals in spots where they knew it would cover more land and people. So what's interesting is I kept getting like for example, like in the movie The Batman, how they're like spraying poison like in the parade. I don't know. I can't help but wonder, you have all these people gathering to view the eclipse. What's to say that these rockets aren't rockets, but it's like a Joker, like spraying the parade of like, what if they're saying it's rockets, but it's all these people gathering outside, and it's just I hate to be a fearmonger, but it's just a thought.
Hopefully not.
So, Julia, NASA is trying to launch sounding rockets into the moon's shadow during the solar eclipse, and there are 3 rockets, and they're calling this the Astrophyric Perturbation and Eclipse Path. So, APEP. Well, APEP in Egyptian mythology, APEP is it's Apis. It's the god of the snake, right? So this is like the demon in Egyptian mythology. And so here we have this NASA launch of 3 rockets fully folding over into APEP. And it's like, wait a second.
It's not necessarily like eclipses are supposed to be bad things, or comets are. Maybe there's like something that would utilize those energies, knowing how powerful it is. Like this eclipse is in the sign of Aries. Aries is the god of war. Okay. Yep. But there's also like in alignment with Chiron. So it's like a lot of wounded. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's like, where is your wound? It's kind of bringing that to the surface. Where have you wounded others? A lot of people that have been doing the work and developing and like spiritually and all that, like they're going to benefit. I believe that gifts and abilities will be activated and amplified. Insights are going to be amplified, and those that refuse to do the work, refuse to do better, I feel like they're going to, like things are going to show up more and be more difficult.
I find it fascinating about them firing 3 rockets into the dark side of the shadow of the moon during an eclipse, and what was the description of the experiment again, Hans?
They're calling it APEP, which is bizarre because APEP in Egyptian or Kamman philosophy is the snake, the demon of deception and shadow. And so it's like, why would they call this project APEP?
But it was like breaking through something or something. Like
I'm not entirely sure what they're going to try to do with it, but they're basically trying to launch these 3 rockets to the dark side of the moon during the eclipse. And so it's interesting. I posted this in our private channel, but yeah, the atmospheric, can't even pronounce that. Perturbotius around the eclipse path, APEP. Yep. So APEP is kind of key. APEP is the snake god of ancient Egypt. It's the opposite. It's yeah. Why is NASA using this as their
Oh wait, people. That's a good job. People are saying they're going to fast, and they're recommending to detox before the 8th.
Yes,
Yes,
of
like it
course.
is
You
a
need
good
to.
time to do spiritual work, like to meditate, to clear your mind, and get balance, like and cleansing. That is a beautiful idea. I like it. I'm with it.
Absolutely. And the
Is it
powers.
is it around a new moon? I'm sorry, I haven't even looked
Yeah,
into it.
complete new moon. So it's like the dark side of the moon is like.
So this is when we need to do our liver cleanses as well. So yes. Yeah,
Oh,
this is a
right.
good.
And CERN is ramping up for the first time in 2 years during this event as well, just to add in. Well, there's your demon and your, portal opening because they got CERN happening with this. And I've always like suspected something to do with
Those
like
guys.
portals, like space-time portals with eclipses, and then the fact they're firing moon or 3 rockets into it. It's like, is it a portal they're firing some rockets into? I don't know. But with CERN involved, I suspect so. And just I my mind
It's
is
also like think about like what are you eclipsing out of your life? Like what kind of action do you want to take? What limitations and like did you once believe and like burn that off? Like you self-doubt, anything holding you back, utilize this to like eclipse that. Like what is your intention? What do you want to create? There's an amazing conjunction coming at the end of April, and it is, with Jupiter and Uranus, and it's a lot of luck. So like things that are popping up right now, you're gonna have this, like it's like a series of aha moments of realizing like what you did wrong, what you attracted, why you manifested this, why did I never take action on this before? Like seeing these things, that reviewing your life and your situation and how you got here and circumstances and what your hand was, what you had to do with how that happened, and realizing like, oh, okay, and then seeing what you can do to change it. And so like resetting your intentions and kind of like, I don't know, like being a god of war and like taking the, you're like about to take that action and go for it.
Wow, that's spot on, Julia. Thank you. Seriously. Wow.
It's waking up our inner warriors, especially with Pluto and Aquarius and the times that we're entering of like revolt. Like I've had it. Like I'm no longer going to tolerate this. No. All right, let's go. Like, so it's going to be
right.
activating that version of you. So like, let's do it.
And saying no to World War III, you freaking retarded cocksuckers running our world. That right there. That's what.
No comment there.
But Dante's Inferno here and the alchemical layers. Looking at this while thinking of the alignments of the solar eclipse to come, the dark side of the moon, NASA firing rockets, CERN firing up, and they're sacrificing the red heifer in Israel, I believe, at the same time. If that's true, why, how, and who, like, just idiocracy is unfolding, and I don't want World War III.
None of us do. It's interesting looking at what
Guys,
you're
they've been
showing.
working on that for a long time. They've been trying to manifest World War III. Like, when you have, at least they're united. Like, they're like, oh, we really need to manifest this. Like, so that's why it's important to get together and be united on a goal to like counteract that. Like, come on.
Bernie, you need to send this to me. So this is interesting because this is the multi-dimensional layers of Mount Meru right here and what you're showing.
Beautiful.
But it's not. And so I'm very interested by that. So you have the Rainbow Bridge rising up from hell to purgatory. That's the Rainbow Bridge from Earth to Sirius from Mount Meru.
Apparently, Jerusalem right there below hell. Interesting.
No comment.
Like, interesting. All right. Air, then fire,
What
then
is this? What is this that you're showing? Sorry, I've got to ask.
Paradiso?
No, but where does this come from?
I am not sure. It could be Dante's Inferno, one of Dante's Inferno.
It's interesting that you have hell as Mount Meru and the Rainbow Bridge going to purgatory. So this is interesting. Because if you look into a lot of the esoteric mysteries, if we are to ascend, then we leave our physical body and we go back into the ethereal, and this is that purgatory, right? And we're waiting there to be reborn as another soul. So interesting.
Indeed, I'm gonna have to get back and I saved the original and figure out what alchemy book I pulled that from, because right, like the cycle.
Soul on. So here we have a triptych word, soul, in
So
yeah, soul on. So we have the sun, we have the message of the sun, om, and we have on, the Egyptian word for the sun. So Solomon. Interesting
that
word.
never thought of it like that. Thank you for that. Just blew my mind. And is saying soul on part of the Solomonic seal sigil process.
Well, and so his sigil was the what we call the Star of David. It was a iron and a brass star that interconnected. And that was what made that, and actually helped deal. God, I have all this. I'm sitting over here. In the Grimoire of Heaven and Hell, you start looking at all of Solomon's seals, and you realize that, my God, most of these are what we see in our computers. They're computer aspects. They're cells. They're yeah. Anyway.
Right? Like, I really, really want to make it to the Grand Canyon's Solomon's Temple in the Grand Canyon, and say Solomon and make a couple sigils in the soil out of some sand and salt or something and see what happens, but only the angels, right?
Yeah, if you can pull up some of the Solomon seals, you'll see that they're definitely circuit boards. I mean, this is what we're dealing with every day in our life. And so our phones, our computers, they all have these circuit aspects to them, but they're all these Solomonic seals if you really look at them.
So much magic and power in numbers, the systems of them. Fractal coding. Right, so first we have electrical circuit symbols. Electrical and electronic circuit symbols. Take a look-see at this.
Yeah, seriously, this is like straight out of the Solomonic seals.
Right? Like, legitimately, several of these just combined together into more advanced circuits. Right here.
Here we go. Bingo.
And Jeremiah pointed out at least one of them was, I believe, an exact replica of a LED circuit or something.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Isn't it?
I just keep looking at these through my book that I have, and it's like, my God, these are circuits. This is what Intel makes their chips out of. Just putting that out there. So yeah.
Exactly, right? And I got to talk more with Blake Lemoyne about that and the Solomonic sigils, as he said that when I asked him about it, if it had to do with the AI, he said yes. So have more questions in regard to that. Amplifier gate.
So just want to give a plug. Julie and I are going to be speaking next week in LA at the Sonista LAX hotel, and we'll be doing some stuff on Alien Event, Biomed Expo, AI Expo, and Alchemy Event. So please come check us out. Yeah, for sure.
Where can people get tickets? What's the link that?
So go to BizCon or BizTon BIZTON.com, and yeah, everything is listed there.
Let's see. Oh, here we go.
So there's the LA Alien event, Alchemy event, AI Expo, and Biomedic.
The events have produced more than 25 amazing 3-day epic events with prominent keynote.
No.
Interesting. But yeah, so Julie and I will be speaking there and talking about a lot of interesting aspects. I'll be talking about the Dropa, the magic of symbols and AI symbology, as well as Egyptology meets chematology. So there's kind of a bit of a mix of all of this.
The best of Hans and Julia combined, as well as Alien event, you said? Or
it's Alien event, AI Expo, BizTon. BizTon is where you can find all of it. But yeah, so there's Biomed Expo, Alchemy event, AI Expo Con, and Alien event. And so we'll have a couple lectures there. So yeah, definitely come find us.
100%. That jealous. I gotta get down there one day.
You do, man. You seriously do.
But it will happen. No doubt about it. I guess Julia's on a call at the moment.
Oh shit. Yeah, I was gonna say, chime in, Julia.
But can you give a couple more I guess gold nuggets of information you might have picked off of
so the trip in Mexico was amazing. Yes. We went to like super amazing sites. The first day we went to
Hogan,
sorry, what?
Of Timothy Hogan, right? And
yeah. So we went down there with Timothy Hogan, Grandmaster of the Knights Templar. Amazing knowledge. I had a bit of a lecture overlap with him as well, and both of our lectures work together because I'm talking a lot about ancient Egypt and the overlap with South America, and he's talking about the Templars and the overlap with South America, and they both kind of connect in the same realm. So one of my lectures coming up in LA will be about this. I'm doing the Egypt versus Kemet lecture, basically. And so it connects a lot of Egyptology ancient Kemet, which goes beyond Egyptology, and then where they overlap with some of the South American cultures, because there was obviously an event that happened where the waters were crossed. So we've definitely got to discuss this. And then I'm doing the magic of symbols, another lecture I have about symbology and the magic of symbols. And then I'm doing my Dropa lecture, which we've discussed a few times on this channel. So,
all right, and the Dropa stones, like, we gotta get a Hans movie of Nepal, and oh man, gotta get back to Nepal too.
Me three. I need to go home. It's been a wild adventure, and since 2015 when the earthquake happened, I haven't been back. So I want to go back and see what's changed and what's new. So yeah,
and find more of the stones, or trace back to the original spot to find another original Dropa stone.
Yes, definitely. And Nepal might be the place. There's spots in India, there's spots in Bhutan, but I've never actually looked into spots in Nepal. So, yeah, definitely an idea. And we'll get you there, Bernie. We gotta go, man.
Right? It will happen. It's just a matter of time. First, got to get back to Mexico, though, and it's just so amazing of a place. Like, the Chichen Itza, when you get that clap, that chirp back, it's
it sounds like a bird. It's so bizarre. It's weird,
right? Like it's.
I've been to a lot of echo points, and they're literally your echo back. But when you're at Chichen Itza and you do it and you clap or you sound it, it comes back as a bird. It's really weird. I've never seen another site that does this. So yeah.
The amount of acoustic engineering that went into designing it and building it to do that is just absolutely insane. And we're only now with 3D mapping and digital mapping and all of that able to reconstruct what they're doing with it to then be able to understand it and possibly build something like that today. It's just
it's interesting that it only works on one side of the pyramid, so it doesn't work on all sides because there's different structure. But if you're facing it from the south, I believe it's the south, and you do the snap or you do the clap or you do a voice, it comes back as a bird chirp. But you don't find that on any of the other sides, which is really interesting.
Sorry about that. I forgot about the chirp, and Jeremy reminded me of it 6 months ago, and it just it came back, and it as soon as I heard a video of it play, it brought me back to the time that I was there and heard it, and there's just nothing else like it.
Oh, you've been there. I didn't realize that. Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Once before. Got to go back. But I got to take a call, and I guess Julia's on a call, and any last words are good? Love you, Hans. We'll be back again next week.
Definitely. I'm heading down to LA with Julia as well. We're doing Alchemy event, AI Expo, Alien event, and Biomed Expo. It's the 11th through the 14th. We're at the Sonesta Hotel in LAX, and so please come check us out. If you want some discounts, reach out personally. There might be a discount available. So, yep.
We will cover it again before next week. Love you, and see you there. Ta-ta.
Awesome. Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you, Julia. Love you all. Bye.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just Bernie.
Hey, Birdie, just like last week, huh?